Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I will be doing a little showdown between the Kat Von D pomade and the ABH pomade. Now I really wanted to see how these differ, how these compare, and break down basically whether you should pick either or. And you guys will personally see my opinion on these and which one I like a little bit better. So I hope that you guys enjoy this tutorial and we'll get right into it. Alright you guys, I'm taking Kat Von D's Walnut with a Makeupshack T55 brush. I'm picking up a bit on my brush and I am about to start going in. Just a heads up, my brows are not symmetrical at all. They're not sisters, they're not even twins. They might be distant cousins, I'm not sure, but they are just not the same. So I'm placing some in the, kind of like in the beginning of the brow, not really, and just working my way back. I picked up a little bit on my brush, just a little bit. I hope you guys can see and that I'm like really in focus. I don't have anyone to help me with this, so I'm sorry. Now the weird part about this brow is that it is like higher up here. It's like really weird. I hate this brow so much, which is why I always photograph the other side, but then my other brow is just trash. Anyways, about the product, you have to work with it really fast because it starts drying down. I will say that it's very gel-like, like it feels like a gel, like it's not like super thick. You almost think that it's gonna feel slippery, but once it goes on the brow and you start trying to move it around, it obviously moves around, but the only thing is that this dries down so fast, so you have to be pretty fast with it. And now I didn't dip my brush back into the pomade. You literally just need a little bit. Like this pomade, I mean a little bit goes a long way, which is really good. Whoa, that's like, it's super pigmented. Now I will be cleaning up the brow. Ooh, this dried down already just a bit. Let's see. Whoa. Now, like I said, I did not have to dip my brush back in to the pomade, which is a good thing, which means this pomade will probably last you a really long time. I'm going to clean up just the bottom of this brow to make it nice and clean. And then I like to kind of just take my brush and clean it upwards. So get rid of this edge because that doesn't look cute at all. Just clean up here as well. And then blend that extra concealer outwards. I like to go back and clean this area right here as well. Alright you guys, next up I am using ABH's pomade in the color chocolate. I'm picking up some with my Makeupshack brush. I'm starting at the beginning of the brow like I did with the other one. And I am dragging this product out. Now I will say that the ABH one is way thicker. It doesn't, to me, it's just a thicker consistency. Whereas the Kat Von D one, really, it feels way creamier than the ABH one. The ABH one is just thicker. I will say that I have to keep on, I just dipped my brush again into the ABH one, which to me automatically tells me that the Kat Von D one definitely has more pigment. Whereas the ABH one, obviously the ABH one has pigment, it's just that I have to dip my brush into the pomade a few more times than I do with the Kat Von D one, which is okay with me, but if you're trying to save product, then that's something that maybe you won't like. I will say that the ABH one definitely dries down a bit quicker than the Kat Von D one, and I feel like that's probably because the consistency is way thicker. Whereas again, the Kat Von D one is more creamy. So I'm just putting some in the front of my brow. Now remember, you want to brush through your brows with a spoolie to comb out any excess product. I'm dipping into the pomade one more time. I mean, to kind of define the tail and the arch. Alright, that's pretty solid to me. I'm gonna go back and clean it up right now. Alright you guys, so here's the end result of both of them. Now, this is the ABH pomade in chocolate, and this is the Kat Von D pomade in Walnut. You guys could kind of see the ABH one is a little bit more red, whereas this one is just way darker, which I do love. I love a very bold dark brow. I do love the ABH one, so it's really hard. Now I am going to do the smudge proof test and run my finger through both of them in a little bit, and we'll see what happens. Now I really want you guys to see the inside of these pomades. This is Kat Von D's Walnut, and if you guys can see, it looks way creamier. And this is ABH's pomade in chocolate, and if you guys can see the thickness of it. Now I'm going to do the smudge proof test. So I'm running my fingers through the brow one more time. And this is ABH's. You guys can see just a little bit of product came off, and my concealer, but just mind the concealer. Now we'll do Kat Von D's Walnut pomade. Run it through. And there's definitely a difference. So this is ABH's pomade in chocolate, and this is Kat Von D's pomade in walnut. They're both definitely smudged. I believe Kat Von D's a little bit more. So we will see how they turn out throughout the whole day. Alright, you guys, now before I go on with my day, I'm gonna swatch both of the pomades. The first one is Kat Von D's Walnut. Now if you guys can kind of see on the inside, it's super creamy. See how creamy it is? Okay, I'm gonna swatch it right here. See how creamy it is? I like that. I'm gonna swatch Anastasia's pomade in chocolate. Just gonna swatch it. If you guys can kind of see the inside, oh, it's just like a thicker consistency. It's like way thicker, you see? Here's Anastasia's pomade in chocolate. Look at how thicker it is. And if you guys notice, Anastasia's pomade doesn't really have that, like, I don't know when you guys saw when I swatched the Kat Von D one, but the Kat Von D one definitely needs some time to dry, whereas the ABH one, when I swatched it, it automatically dried down. Now it's currently 1:31. I am going to be checking in throughout the whole day to show you guys how the brows hold up. Alright, you guys, so this is the first update. I believe it's 3:42 right now. I'm gonna go watch Infinity War again. So this is the ABH brow, and then this is the Kat Von D one. You can definitely see that the Kat Von D one is still like pretty intact and like super dark. The ABH one, for some reason, on the tail of the brow, if you guys can see, like the product for some reason is like coming off. And it's barely been like almost like an hour and like, I don't know, like 30 minutes or something like that. So I'm gonna go watch this movie, and then I'll update you guys when I get back home. Alright, you guys, it's the end of the day for me. It is already 10 at night. I'm so tired and I need to take a shower desperately. So let's talk about the brows. Now, we'll do the ABH one first. If you guys can see, the tail has definitely rubbed off right here. It's pretty much still like solid. The color payoff is still there. So here's the Kat Von D one. The tail is still there. It's still very solid, and the pigmentation is still pretty damn good. Overall, both brows like were really nice and solid throughout the whole entire day. I would say that obviously the tail on the ABH side rubbed off. I basically had these brows on for like 8 hours, 9 hours. So the fact that they held up really well is really good. Now for my final thoughts. All right, so I know that in the beginning, when I did the Kat Von D side, I said that they dried down really fast. If you guys saw when I swatched the pomades on my arm, you would see that the Kat Von D one does take a little longer to dry down, whereas ABH's, it pretty much when you like get it on your brow, it dries down instantly, which sometimes can be a bad thing because then it leaves no room to like move the product around your brow, which is why I feel like I had to keep dipping into the pomade, which then leads to the fact that if you're a person who uses a lot of product or has a heavy hand, you're definitely gonna go through the ABH pomade like super fast. with the Kat Von D one, I felt like even though it took longer to dry down, and even though it was more of a gel consistency, I felt like I didn't have to keep digging. I didn't have to keep dipping my brow into the pomade. I literally dipped it once and it already gave me so much like pigmentation. I just feel like for me personally, I would definitely choose the Kat Von D one over the ABH one, just because of that reason, just because I know that I won't go through the Kat Von D one that fast. Now, I have had the ABH pomade before, and I will say that it does dry down. If you leave especially if you leave the cap off, that product will dry down instantly. You could put oil in it, but I don't like doing that. Now, as for the Kat Von D, I don't know, and I would say it's unfair to put those like two things against each other, because I don't know if in the long run the Kat Von D might dry out quicker than the ABH one, so we'll have to see that about that in the long run. Now the Kat Von D one has 16 shades. It has 7 realistic shades and then 7 like colorful ones, and then the Anastasia one has 11 realistic shades. Now for a regular consumer, if they want to try out the Kat Von D pomades, they might not find their shades just because it's limited to only 7 realistic shades. Yes, you can mix it and pick up the white pomade that Kat Von D has in it, but not a lot of consumers want to buy 2 pomades. So I would say there you could definitely buy any pomades from Anastasia, because she does have a larger range of realistic brow shades. Now another thing, price point. Kat Von D's pomade is $19, whereas ABH's pomade is only $18. I mean, it's not like it's a huge difference, it's a dollar difference, but hey, if you're trying to save money, I definitely would say go with the ABH one. You know me, I'm cheap. I like to find like a cheaper alternatives. Although it's still just a dollar difference, it's still a dollar. Now both products do claim to be smudge proof, which I kind of like beg to differ, just because they're really like, it's not like they smudge a lot, they just transfer, you know. Both brow pomades also claim high pigment, and that is definitely true. They're both super pigmented. I definitely feel like Kat Von D's pomade is a bit more pigmented. So overall, I definitely choose the Kat Von D one. I think they're both phenomenal. I think you could go with either or. It's definitely up to you. Now, if you do not want to purchase the Kat Von D one because you already have the Anastasia one, go into Sephora and get a sample and then see how you like it. You know, because you definitely don't have to purchase it like right off the bat. Always get a sample. I honestly feel like both brows are amazing. Well, they look like shit right now, but like both products are really good and solid. Like it's really hard to pin these brows against each other, just because I feel that they're both really great products. And then again, they don't have a lot of like differences, you know what I'm saying? Like I sound like if they're in the relationship, but they compare more than they differ, you know what I'm saying? So it's really just up to you what product you want to buy. But I hope this has helped you a little bit, and I will see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye guys.